Steve Dotto here. How the heck are you this fine day? Me? I'm feeling pretty good, especially since I have joined the sit-stand revolution. If you don't know what the sit-stand revolution is, increasingly we are discovering that sitting on your tuchus, spending time on your derriere, is detrimental to one's health. And since so many of us now, especially people like me, spend so much time on our computers, it's a real health issue. That we're just basically spending too much time sitting. And if we can stand more, we are going to be healthier. But we still need to spend time at the computer. So there's this whole class of tool called the sit-stand desk, which allows us to sit part-time and stand part-time. I've got one. I've been using it for a little while. And it, maybe not life-changing, but it might be life-extending. So let's take care of ourselves today on Dotto Tech. So it turns out that sitting at our desks is, while making us quite productive, is counterproductive to our health. Compressing our organs and not being very mobile is just a big negative, health and longevity-wise and quality of life-wise. So increasingly, people are trying to find ways to move more while they're working and to stand whenever possible. So there's this whole new set of tools called sit-stand desks. Now, some of them are complete brand new desks that move up and down, allowing you to move your workstation up and down so you can sit occasionally and stand occasionally. And other ones are fixed just for standing. And other ones are add-ons that you can add on to an existing desk to modify it to allow you to sit and stand. Now, was doing quite a bit of research on this several months ago, decided that I wanted to get into it, and I was lucky enough to get an Ergotron, one of their ones for the Mac, which is just an awesome tool. But there's a whole variety of different prices and different styles of these sit-stand desks that I think you should consider. But what I wanted to talk to you about today was about the process of how work changes when you're standing. I think the health benefits, I'm not going to be the one to espouse to you too much about the health benefits. Do a little bit of research. You will discover yourself what a big and profound difference it can make. So convince yourself that it's something that you're interested in, and then determine whether or not you want to modify your desk or you want to get a whole new desk. Now, the one that I've got, just so you know, let me just find it here. It's this one here. It's the Ergotron, which they make a very stylish one. For, in the Apple world, we always have to look real good, don't we? So this is the one that I actually ended up with here, and so it's great because I have a nice big Apple monitor. This will support up to the cinema display. Now, you have to be careful if you do go the Apple world. If you have the 27-inch cinema, or if you have the 27-inch iMac, you have to be careful which one of these because the weight is a lot, so you have to make sure you get the exact right device to support that. But for me, I spend probably not half of my time, but I probably spend about 40% of my time standing now, the rest of my time sitting, and I'm trying to increase the amount of time I spend standing. But the challenge for me is how I like to work. There's some things that I'm fine doing when I'm standing. I'm doing research, clipping web articles, planning for videos, that sort of stuff is all great to do standing. I don't mind browsing and doing research and reading online while I'm standing. That very easy. That wasn't an issue at all. A little bit more of an issue for me is writing, but I'm going to get to writing in a few moments because I don't necessarily like using the keyboard as much when I'm standing. It just hasn't quite felt as quite as natural, but I can do it, and I do it. What I don't like to do when I'm standing is I don't like to do my graphics work. I don't like working with graphics and that sort of stuff. I just feel I feel maybe like I have to kind of dive into it and wrap into it a bit. I don't know why, but it just hasn't worked for me. I haven't felt comfortable doing that. And let me show you the tools or the things that I've kind of done to help with the writing side in just a few seconds. But you see there, I didn't mention that this whole arm here goes up and down depending on when I want to stand and when I want to sit. The other thing that I don't do when I'm standing currently is I don't do these videos. I do these videos sitting. And the main reason, I would actually prefer to do these videos standing, if the truth be known. But the green screen I bought, which is keying out the background behind me, is only 6 foot tall. And while I'm not exceptionally tall, if I stand up, the camera shoots off over the top. And next time, either I have to buy a new green screen or I have to come up with some other solution of propping it up a little bit higher. So that just comes that was sheer. I was being cheap when I first bought the thing, didn't know that I needed probably 8 or 9 feet of headroom. And so I do these demos sitting down. To be truthful, it would be better standing up. The energy level, back when we used to do the TV show, if I was ever flat, if I was ever kind of having trouble, sometimes I'd be sitting at our workstations recording the show. The directors would always get me to stand, and they always felt the energy in the presentation was a little bit crisper, a little bit better when I was standing. And I did the same thing on radio. When I did my radio show, as often as possible, I would stand. When I was doing interviews and stuff, I just felt more engaged. Now, back to the sit stand. Oh, before I show you the writing solution that I've come with that's helped me, a quick kind of look through the internet is going to bring you up all sorts of different sit stand options. See, this is the Ergotron. This is the company I was talking about. These guys here, and Throw, they've been kind of well known for doing medical carts and stuff like that. They're getting into the sit stand business, and they're recognizing that it's a big deal. And if you do need to modify your existing desk, if you do want to modify your existing desk, because the new ones are expensive, and we'd also have great pieces of furniture, you could look at these sort of solutions here, which basically sit on top of an existing desk and then convert it into sit stand. It's not going to feel awesome the second you use it, but over time you will get comfortable with it. And one thing you should also know is there's a whole variety of other devices that you can get, little places to raise your foot or lower your foot, and different types of padding that you stand on that will make a difference as well. So there's this whole kind of movement around the sit-stand revolution. Now, writing. Since I do respond to a lot of email now and do a lot of my writing when I'm standing, but I don't particularly like typing on the keyboard when I'm standing. So one of the things that's made a big difference to me is the capability of doing dictation. Now, I've mentioned that a little bit in the past, but it came to roost for me when I upgraded my computer system and actually downgraded my operating system. When I first moved to the new Mac Pro, actually my new old Mac Pro, the version of the operating system that the first one that I got did not support Apple's built-in dictation, which I was using an awful lot with my notebook and my previous computer. So when I would stand, I would have to type because I had no option for dictating in. That, to me, was something that one of the biggest reasons that I had to switch and upgrade my Mac Pro so that I could run the most modern operating system was so that I could take advantage of this tool. Now, you have similar tools in Windows, and if not, you can also purchase software, things like Drag and Dictates. But if we go into the Mac operating system, there's a tool there called Dictation and Speech. And what you can do is you can turn on dictation. And the cool thing now is we can actually set it up so that it runs all the time, even when we're not online. But what happens, though, when we turn this on is it gives us a little shortcut. So you can choose what your shortcut is. But for me, it's just hitting the function key twice. And I'm going to show you what happens. I'm just in Evernote right here. When I tap the function key twice, you'll hear a little bink. You might hear the bink. I'll certainly hear the bink. And it tells me that it's in dictation mode. And then we have something called continuous dictation, which allows me to do this. Watch. I'm able to dictate what I'm writing, comma. You have to incorporate all of the punctuation, of course, exclamation mark. New line. Now, the cool thing about this comma, continuous dictation, comma, is the fact that if I make a mistake or if I say a word that is not in the dictionary, like, for instance, Dotto Tech, is it there? Oh, shoot, it's in the dictionary. It's doing a very good job. But you can pause at any time. You can leave the dictation running. There. See? Pause. Comma. And then you can just pick up dictation again without having to turn it on or off. Period. Do you see what I just did? I was going through and it did make a mistake. I'm reading as it's going along. I found a mistake. I was able to edit it with the keyboard, leaving the continuous dictation running, and then I was able to pick up and continue dictating. So where this fits with the sit-stand environment is I find that to be very second nature. It's very comfortable for me to be standing, doing this sort of dictation in an email or writing a blog post or doing any of that kind of stuff, and reading it as I go along, and then when I do find a problem, I just basically move the mouse, click in, type and correct that word, if I know how to spell that word, and then move on to the next thing. It's very cool. So So the sit-stand, the concept of standing while you're working, great for the health, but now we need technology to help us out a little bit. And enabling technologies like dictation make a big difference as far as that is concerned. Christmas is coming up. Actually, this video originally is going to broadcast in December of 2014. So the first time, if you're watching it later, this might not be as great a suggestion. But I think if you're having trouble trying to figure out what to get that geek in your life, think about, if you can, getting them into sit-stand, giving them a more ergonomically responsible way of doing their of working. It's a big gift, it's a big shift, but it does have the potential to make the quality of life for people that spend a lot of time at the keyboard that much better. And certainly, if you're the boss and you look around the office and you see all those people on their derrieres, oh boy, that would be one retrofit I would really look for in the office place as far as improving the overall environment and honoring your employees in that way. That's it for today. I hope that you found this video to be useful. There's 3 ways to stay in touch with us here on Dotto Tech. The first is, of course, please subscribe to this channel. Secondly, subscribe to our newsletter, and then you will get notification of all of our upcoming events. We've got lots of webinars planned for this coming year. It is going to be an awesome year of webinars from the Dotto Tech space. And finally, Dotto Tech is funded through the generosity of our patrons at Patreon. There are perks to being part of our community. If you want to drop by and see what's going on at Patreon, I encourage you to click on the Patreon link and learn about basically what the new a very new way of supporting content creators, which is called Patreon. And we've got a very vibrant and community that just does a wonderful job of supporting us here on Dotto Tech. So I thank you if you're a part of that community, and if not, have a look. Till next time, I am Steve Dotto. Have fun storming a castle.